There is a moment frozen in time, a moment so ordinary, so unremarkable, that no one could have known it would reshape the entire world. A woman crouches by a riverbed, watching a smooth stone tumble through the water, and something ignites inside her mind. She sees what no human before has ever consciously understood, the power of the circle. This is the story of Nara, and how curiosity and persistence created the invention that would echo through 10,000 years of human civilization. Part 1. The Weight of the World. The world before the wheel is a world of suffering. Imagine living in a time when every single thing you need must be carried on your back or dragged through mud and stone. The ancient tribes of the grasslands know nothing else. Nara's people, the Cthulhu, as they call themselves, are strong, resilient, adapted to hardship, but they are prisoners of their own limitations. Every morning begins with labour. The men hunt bison, dragging the carcasses back to the village across miles of unforgiving terrain. It takes days. The women gather roots, berries, and grain from the valleys, carrying everything in woven baskets strapped to their bodies. The sick and elderly are often left behind because they cannot keep pace. Children are born into a world where exhaustion is the natural state of existence. Nara knows this life as intimately as anyone, but there is something different about her. Where others see the way things are, Nara sees the way things could be. She is 14 winters old when the obsession begins. Part 2. The Question. 1. Autumn evening, Nara is gathering wood with her younger brother Lani when she discovers something that changes everything. A massive tree has fallen across the path, blocking access to the valley where the sweetest roots grow. The tribe has known this tree for 3 seasons now, and they have simply accepted it as a natural barrier, walking an extra day around the obstruction. But Nara sees something different. She finds a sturdy branch and positions it beneath the fallen tree like a lever. When she pushes down on the branch, the log shifts slightly. She tries again with more force, and again the tree moves. Then she notices something even more interesting. When she rolls smaller stones under the branch and the log, the whole thing seems to move more easily. Friction becomes flow. Resistance becomes possibility. That night around the fire, Nara cannot stop thinking about the stones. Why do they roll so easily? Why does a round object move when a square one does not? She watches the flames dance, hypnotized, seeing circles everywhere in the orange glow of the embers, in the way the smoke spirals, in the pattern the flames trace against the darkness. Lani notices his sister's distant gaze. "What are you thinking about?" he asks. "Everything," she whispers. Part 3. The First Experiment. Over the following weeks, Nara begins to experiment in secret. She collects smooth river stones of various sizes, rolling them across different surfaces. She quickly learns that size matters. Stones that are too small roll away unpredictably, while larger ones are more controllable, but harder to move initially. She discovers that water reduces friction, that angled surfaces create momentum, that a combination of factors creates either chaos or grace. She constructs a simple test. 2 large stones placed at equal distances, with a piece of wood balanced across them. When she loads this wooden platform with gathered roots and shifts her weight strategically, the whole thing moves with far less effort than carrying everything by hand. Lani becomes her secret collaborator. He's 10 years old, curious, and brave, willing to help his sister with this mysterious project. Together, they spend hours experimenting, failing, laughing at their failures, and trying again. But not everyone in the tribe is pleased with her obsession. The elders begin to notice. Nara's mother, Keth, expresses concern. "You should be learning to prepare food, to make clothes, to do what women do," her mother warns. "These experiments with stone serve no purpose." But Nara cannot stop. There is something alive in her mind now, a vision she cannot ignore. Part 4. The wooden circle. When Nara is 16 winters old, she makes her breakthrough. She's been watching carpenters work with wood, observing how they shape tools and handles. One day, after an old tree falls in a storm, she convinces the woodworkers to let her try something unusual. Using a stone tool, she begins to carve a flat piece of wood into a perfect circle. It takes her 3 weeks of patient, obsessive work, slowly rotating the wood against a rough stone, shaping it grain by grain. When she finally holds the finished disc in her hands, something shifts in the world. The wooden circle is crude by any modern standard, but it is revolutionary by ancient measures. She immediately pairs it with another disc, carefully placing a sturdy branch through holes she has drilled into the centre of each. This axle connects the two wheels, and she attaches the entire mechanism to a flat wooden platform. The first wheeled platform in human history is born. She tests it on flat ground, loading it with a basket of gathered roots. The movement is jerky, imperfect. The discs are not perfectly round, the axle is not perfectly smooth, and the weight distribution is uneven. But it works. By rolling this platform instead of carrying everything, she covers twice the distance with half the effort. Leonie's eyes widen when he sees it in motion. "It's alive," he whispers. Part 5. Resistance and Resilience. When Nara brings her creation to the tribe, the reaction is mixed. Some people are amazed, others are terrified. The oldest among them, those who remember the ways of their ancestors with fierce pride, view this innovation as dangerous, even blasphemous. The natural world works as it does for a reason, the elder Tom declares. To change it is to invite disaster. Others question its practicality. The wheels are fragile, breaking under stress. The platform tips on uneven ground. In rain, the wooden discs become slippery and unreliable. Nara's invention seems to fail as often as it succeeds. But failure does not discourage her. Instead, it becomes her teacher. She learns to shape her discs with greater precision, creating them thicker at the centre for strength and tapered at the edges for better rolling. She discovers that certain types of wood oak, ash, and birch produce stronger wheels than softer varieties. She realizes that the axle must be as smooth as possible, and she begins coating it with animal fat to reduce friction. Her workshop becomes the edge of the camp, a place of constant experimentation and incremental progress. Part 6. The Great Fire. Everything changes during the season of storms. Lightning strikes dry grassland near the valley where the tribe stores its winter supplies. Within hours, a wall of fire approaches, driven by fierce winds. The tribe's survival depends on moving massive quantities of grain, dried meat, and hides to safety before the flames arrive. In panic, the elders look at Nara's wheeled platform. "Can this help?" her mother asks urgently. Nara nods without hesitation. She and Lani, along with several of the strongest members of the tribe, begin loading her platforms. The wheels groan under the weight, and she fears they will shatter at any moment, but they hold. What would normally take 5 trips by hand can be done in 2 trips with wheels. The tribe saves half its winter stores, an amount that will make the difference between survival and starvation. When the danger passes, the tribe gathers to watch Nara's platform still standing, still functional, still revolutionary. The elders have no choice but to acknowledge the girl has created something that saves lives. Part 7. Evolution and Expansion. In the years that follow, Nara's wheel undergoes 1,000 improvements. Other craftspeople become interested in her work. Together they discover that wheels can be made larger or smaller depending on their purpose. Bigger wheels roll faster but require more force to start moving. Smaller wheels are nimble but less efficient over distance. They learn to attach wheels in pairs, then in combinations that allow for turns and adjustments. They create the first cart's wooden frames on 4 wheels that can carry 3 times what their strongest men can carry. They experiment with axle designs, eventually discovering that a wheel within a wheel, a hub with spokes, distributes weight more evenly and prevents the entire structure from collapsing under strain. Young people become interested in wheel making. New specialists emerge, those who craft frames, those who carve discs, those who smooth axles. A new profession is born, the wheelwright, whose skills become valuable to every tribe in the region. Trade increases dramatically. With wheeled carts, hunters can transport far more meat, traders can carry more goods across longer distances, and communities can exchange not just products but ideas. Part 8. The ripple expands. Other tribes hear of Nara's invention. Some come to learn, offering trade goods in exchange for her knowledge. Others attempt to copy her wheels with varying degrees of success. Within a generation, the wheel spreads like fire across the grasslands and eventually across the entire known world. Wars are fought differently now. Supply lines can be longer, armies can carry more provisions. Civilizations expand their territories because they can transport resources more efficiently. Agriculture becomes more productive because harvests can be moved quickly, before spoiling. Cities grow larger because their supply lines can sustain them. The wheel becomes so fundamental to human life that eventually most people cannot imagine a world without it. But Nara understands something that others do not. The wheel is just the beginning. Once you understand how to apply circular motion to solve problems, the possibilities become endless. She experiments with pottery wheels, with water wheels that harness the river current to do work. She plants seeds of thought that will grow into steam engines and all the machines of the industrial age. Part 9. Legacy. Nara lives to see her grandchildren playing with toy wheels, laughing as they roll them down hillsides. She watches merchants use her invention to become wealthy. She sees her tribe grow stronger, healthier, and more prosperous, because so much human labour has been freed from brute transport and can now be devoted to art, learning, and culture. Near the end of her life, Nara sits on a high hill overlooking the valley where she grew up. Below her, the landscape is dotted with wheeled carts, with traders moving goods, with children playing with rolling toys. The world has changed in ways both subtle and profound. A young person asks her, "Grandmother Nara, were you not afraid when no one believed in your wheel?" Nara smiles, looking at the endless horizon. "Fear and doubt are the price of seeing what others cannot see," she answers. "But once you have glimpsed possibility, you cannot look away. The world spoke to me through stones and circles, and I simply listened." Epilogue. The circle unbroken. 10,000 years later, we live in a world utterly transformed by the simple circle. Every vehicle on every road contains wheels. Our daily lives are built on mechanisms that trace their ancestry directly back to that first moment when Nara understood the power of the circle. Most of us never think about the wheel. We take it for granted, as invisible as air. But if you listen carefully in quiet moments, if you pay attention to the sound of wheels rolling, you might hear an echo of that ancient innovation, the moment when one curious human asked why and refused to accept the world as it was given to her. The wheel spins on, endless and tireless, carrying humanity forward into futures that Nara could never have imagined but that would have been impossible without her. This is the story of the first wheel. This is the story of Nara. This is the story of how one person, with nothing but curiosity and determination, changed everything.